Gemini, hi, come on in. Great to see you. It's time to do your Gemini 2020 yearly reading and forecast and see what there is in store for you for the coming year. I think you're going to be stepping into your best year yet, you know. Let's have a look at it. When I have pulled these cards, incidentally, what I'll do is I'll bring a lamp across and shine them down on the cards. That way you'll be able to see them clearly. I've just been doing some spiritual work, excuse me, and I just want the environment to sort of stay, well, with me to stay in the mood, because I am now in the mood to do your reading. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one card for each month of the year. That'll do the job. And then we shall go through them. So let's see what there is in store for you, Gemini. Let's have a look for January. The King of Swords. February. The Two of Discs. Isn't that an arresting card? That Two of Discs. January, February, March. What's this one perhaps? The Moon card in March, April, Four of Discs, May, the Empress, I love the Empress, June, the Chariot. Some of these cards have got a bit of nudity attached to them, I think, so if you're faint-hearted, then just be aware, or go to the Disney Channel. Oh, I think you'll be okay. It's not graphic, it's artistic. That's the Two of Cups in July. That was the Chariot before. Here we have the Page of Swords. Well, speaking of nudity, there's the Page of Swords. There's the Fool. What's this one? The Wheel of Fortune. Let's have something from in here, perhaps. We need two more, so you come out and you come out. Which one came first? This one, didn't it? So it's the Ace of Wands. Fantastic. What's that? The Knight of Wands. How extraordinary. All right, my friend. Why don't you come down and sit down here next to me? I'll bring this lamp across, shine it down onto these beautiful images, and we can look at them together while I do the reading for you. Okay, my Gemini, now here we are, January through to June, and July through to December. Now, let's look first at this card here in January, and it's the King of Swords, and my word, aren't you going to hit the new year running? I get a lot of Gemini in this card, a lot of Gemini, the Lord of the Winds and Breezes, I call it. Could also be a Taurus in your life at this time who is having something to do with you. Now, Kings, esoterically, are fire, and in the suit of swords is air. So we have the fire of air, which is akin to a windstorm, storms, hurricanes, forces of passion originating in the mind. So we have the energy of the mind in Gemini, I think, with the influence of the stability and determination of what I see this Taurus energy is. Yeah, if I was to look at this person, I'd say they're about 2/3 Gemini and about 1/3 Taurus. It's the last decan of Taurus that I'm getting, so it's the most unpredictable. This is a man, although I should say that court cards can be both male and female. It's just that it's convenient for me to refer to this character as a he because of the depiction of him as such. It is a man who is active, clever, skillful, fierce, and courageous, but often unreflective. This is really somebody who is at their best. But if he's not soaring intellectually, he can get lost in the clouds of the mind, I think. He represents for me the idea of attack, of the violent power of motion applied. He is the wind, the storm, and his moral qualities are, I think, skill, subtlety, and cleverness. He is fierce, delicate, courageous, but altogether consumed by his current idea, which comes to him by way of inspiration without reflection and considered thought. So just be aware of that. Make sure your thoughts remain grounded. I think what we can say for you, that is in January, you will obtain clear insight into a problem which you've been presented with, and you'll be working quickly to set goals and don't let anything get in the way. I think that this is nevertheless going to be something of a restless period for you, where you are transitioning and trying to get somewhere else, either in your everyday life or possibly even travel around here. It is a time for you to listen to the head rather than the heart, because he gives me the impression that he is somebody who is more comfortable in his head rather than expressing feelings. Now, I'm not saying that you don't express feelings, but he is someone who's very comfortable in his head, so he's saying to me for you is to use that razor-sharp mind of yours to push you forward. Knights kings here can represent, I think, restlessness in all aspects of life. So maybe you want to break free of something, maybe a desire to break free of the workplace. Now, in a relationship setting, I have to say that this King of Swords can represent the love-hate relationship. And you might know somebody like this. You know those love-hate relationships where the couple, they get together, they're happy, then they fight and they break up, then they find they can't live without each other, then they get back. For a little while, things go well, then they fight, they break up, and they get back, then they do it again, fight, get together. And then after a while, one of the people says, look, this is going to be very draining for me in the long run, and who signed up for this? And then we come into February. And February, we have the Two of Discs. Well, Discs is the suit of earth, and for me, well, she's very much depicted, is she not, with money there, and I think that this is energy which is good for your money, but I actually see it as being something which is more to do with your broader standard of living. I call this woman here the Lady of Harmonious Change. The astrology is that of Jupiter ruling the first decan of Capricorn, that 23rd of December to the 2nd of January. Now, Jupiter is all about luck, good luck, and philosophy and expansion. And although potentially inharmonious, because Jupiter is all about expansion, and as I say, it's Jupiter and Capricorn is about conservatism and practicality, because we're so high up in the suit, we're at the 2, and of course ahead of it would just be the Ace of Discs, then I don't think we have a problem there whatsoever. This is sort of saying to me that you should kind of go with the flow during this month. I think that there is a change that is going to be bringing you back into balance, and your well-being will be so much better. I'm getting movement, flux, having ups and downs, growth through changes. I have to say, I think you are going to be involved in some multitasking and could possibly have quite a heavy workload, even though I think that you are going to be enjoying your work. There is going to be for you, I think, a welcome change which is going to put you in a better place. I think you have to sometimes learn to go with the flow in your life and trust in the process of change so that you might find harmony and balance. Now, sometimes, if there are constant changes, it can make things difficult to get off the ground, but that's not going to be an issue for you. This is a very, very good year for you. I don't think there's anything materially or financially set in stone at the moment. So you have, if you like, an open book, or the world is your oyster. That type of energy is coming through. But this is also saying to me, and this might sound a bit boring, but it's saying to me to make sure that your everyday affairs are in order. That is, that your credit card statements are balanced and that the utility bills have been paid. This is an energy of very good management of your practical affairs and finances. And it might sound, as I say, like a drag getting on top of bills and chores, but that's kind of as important as pursuing more enjoying activities. I'd have this thought in mind during this period of February, and it is, I trust in the harmony of my life and in the flow of my life. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Now we have the Moon card here in March for you. The Moon. What does this have to say? The Moon usually, let's have a look to see. I'm just seeing how it's placed. So it's coming there in March, and then you've got this Four of Discs coming up, and then the Empress. What's the energy that's coming around it? Okay, I see. Well, I'm very much getting the planet of Neptune around this card. It's talking about, Neptune very often speaks of illusion or delusion when Neptune appears. And I have Neptune in Pisces as the sign in which the planet is residing, with Venus exalted. Now, Pisces is very much associated with the subconscious, with emotions, with intuition, and with artistry. And this is the last of the major arcana cards for me, as I see them, to be associated with a zodiac sign. And as I say, Pisces is that zodiac sign. Now, the planet ruling is Neptune. Neptune's watery depths are associated with dreams, with visions, and the imagination, which links it in quite well, I think, with the qualities of the Moon. I think that there's some lack of clarity around here. There's some mental confusion I'm getting. There's some deception is what I feel. I think that you may well have increased psychic abilities during this period in March, you know. I think that this card, this energy, is suggesting to me a time when something in your life is not as it appears to be, a situation that is deceiving. You may kind of be feeling as if you are lost in life and unsure about which way to go, almost if you're out driving at night and you're in an unfamiliar part of the city and it's dark and there are no signposts and you don't know which way to go. But this can often, I think, represent the shadow self, the subconscious or hidden self. It's possible. Now, look, it is possible, I think, that you may be harboring some negativity that you have suppressed or repressed, or that you may not even be aware of. This is saying to me that there is a need to release that destructive energy. Now, this can come from prior relationships we have had, prior events that have occurred, sometimes feelings from childhood that have been repressed and which are having a negative impact on the current situation. I think I'm just having this thought which is coming through, and it is, claim me, O wife, let thy veils open, and thy veiling mists part to admit me to thy mystery, to the unexplored wilds of thy being. Yeah. This can also be, I think, a very sexualized energy around here, and foretell of an erotic relationship that may have fluxes and refluxes associated with it. It can be quite tidal. So if that type of thing comes up, forewarned is forearmed. But it's a good time. There's nothing wrong with erotic relationships. I mean, after all, that is why we are here on the planet and in human form. The Four of Discs. Well, what a lovely scene that is. What can I say about the Four of Discs? Well, for me, numerologically, I love the number 4. It's because, first of all, it's associated with the planet of Jupiter, which, as I mentioned before, is about just straight-out good luck. And I think you are having just straight-out good luck here. It's about expansion. It's about acquisition. I call this card, this Four of Discs, the Lord of Earthly Power. It is the Sun in the 3rd decan of Capricorn, 13th to the 21st of January. Now, Capricorn is, I think you will agree, a feet on the ground, eye on the prize sign. And those with their Sun in Capricorn have a realistic, grounded approach to life that can be seen, really, no matter how dreary or problematic the rest of their birth chart happens to be. I see round here for you strong foundations, stability, almost like a tight rein on the budget. I think you'll be quite financially cautious during this time, preserving defensively what you've got, saving for the future, kind of protecting yourself is what I'm getting. But the Sun in Capricorn, well, the Sun energizes the Capricorn Earth, and material benefits or power are the result. Now, the Sun in astrology is also the symbol of your dynamism or power, and Capricorn is the application of that power in a useful way. So this is a particularly good energy for you to be having at this time of the year. Now, notwithstanding what is this very nature-driven scene in the card, it is for me an energy which is, I have to say, very material. It's a very material energy. I think what this is saying is that you will find that your life is orderly and secure, but there might be some kind of feeling, I'm just getting residual sense of discontentment around it. It's almost as if you are living inside a castle. It's almost as if you are in a castle. And that castle can be your sanctuary where you find your inner voice, or it can be materialistic and something to show off to others. And I think that, again, there's a very strong sense of materialism during this period, and acquisition, and showing off things to other people. I think what it's also saying to me is that you may be tested to not give your personal power away, and you will need to discriminate about where and to whom you say no. And using that castle analogy again, you might sometimes need to pull that drawbridge up and stay within your own inner sanctuary so that you don't give too much of yourself away. But I think that financial and material security is going to be very important to you at this time, and you will have solid foundations for that. You will have the seeds now to acquire assets which are as a result of your exercising sound judgment or wise investment, I think you'll be very willing to work for what you want, and you will have confidence in applying yourself to the world. You will be seen by other people as a dependable person who acts with integrity, and it's very much a feeling here of fulfillment of your personal goals and dreams. Just fantastic. Gee, I should do my own cards, and hopefully something like that shows up. Here, following in May, now isn't this interesting? Here we have the Empress card. We'll put it there like that so we can see her. The Empress. There are two mother archetypes in the first few major arcana. The High Priestess, who is cold and remote, the empty void or ocean, and then there is the Empress, who is warm, nurturing, and overflowing with diversity and abundance. Now, interestingly, there is a Hebrew letter that is applied to this card traditionally. It's not in here. And that third letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Gimel, or Gemel, which means camel. And it is like a camel going across the desert that the Empress carries her child, first in her body and then out into the world through birth. The Empress isn't just mother to a single child. She is a symbol of the mother of everything, the abundance and fertility of creation, and she carries all things across the void of creation and into the world of manifestation. She takes the child and carries it in her body, covering it with her flesh, and takes it across the threshold from spirit into matter. She carries it out of the dark forest and into the bright sun. Now, the Empress is a particularly beautiful card to draw if you are a female, because it speaks particularly to the energization of the female principle in creation. The daughter of the mighty ones is what I call her. Her association for me is very much with Earth, and Venus coming in as a ruling planet into the Earth. She speaks to me of pregnancy. I think you may well hear of pregnancy during this period. Certainly being in touch with the beauty of your life. Now, I actually see that you will be exploring a relationship with your mother or with a maternal type figure. Although the energy that I'm getting from these other cards here, I have to say, and because of this very strong earth energy coming through just prior to it, it could also relate to the exploring of a relationship with the father, or it may well be that you act as, or exploring a relationship with a father or with a father figure, with a mother or a mother figure, or you might be acting as a father figure or a mother figure for somebody else and giving them counsel, advice. I think you'll have a very empathetic and caring personality. I think what she does is she reminds us that spirituality is expressed from the heart and not from the head. And she's about nurturing other people and also yourself. You see, you give so much of yourself to other people. You're always giving to other people, and it's important that you find time to have time for yourself, to be able to give yourself time to pamper yourself, to relax, to nurture yourself, to just spend time by yourself and to do the things that you enjoy doing. I have this thought: you are about me and through me. Your kisses are all at once in all places. The moist folds of your skin are open and engulfing and devouring the whole of me. Yet I am the gate, and the shaft of your burning and luminous love impales me and rips me and feeds me, even as your mouth, your touch, your womb swallows me up. Yeah. I think you will be moving towards balancing your emotions, dealing with motherhood issues. It's a highly creative time for you. I'd have this thought in mind during this period, and it is this, that I give and receive wisely. I realize that the capacity to receive is equally as powerful as the capacity to give. I value the healing power of beauty, harmony, and love. Strong love for nature, I see with you. And I don't think that you are going to be able to be categorized as being either intellectual or emotional during that month. Certainly not easily characterized. You will also have strong leadership ability. And this is particularly the case for the ladies. Now, let me have a look at this card here, which is the Chariot. Isn't this a fantastic card to follow? Major Arcana number 7. Well, I love the number 7 because it, apart from anything, is the lucky number. And of course, there are the 7 stages of heaven, which I'll talk about at another time. But here we have an unusual depiction of the Chariot, where the charioteer is female, and she has her heart really open to be looked at. She is open to the world, if you like. And the wolves, of course, are the animals that draw the chariot along. Now, I'll say that this is a time for you to be, well, it represents a turning point in your life if things have not been going so well. And I get the feeling that maybe you feel you've been going through something of a barren stretch and that now things are liable to turn around. The child of the powers of the waters, the lady of the triumph of light is what I call her. It is for me the moon ruling Cancer with Jupiter exalted. Now, I've already spoken about the great things of Jupiter. Cancer, the crab, has armor around it, and I think what will happen is that you might be almost growing a little bit of armor around yourself to protect yourself in the period. I think that this is saying that you will be having victory over adversity. I do get that feeling that you've come through something of a difficult period, but you're going to overcome it. You will have the courage to act. Now, that's important. Certainly, one has to have the intention to act, but that's all very good. It's no good unless you also have the emotional desire to do so and confidence to do so, and this is saying that you will have that confidence to act. You'll have the desire and you'll have the confidence to act. There are successes, I think, over previous negative patterns. And we were talking about some of those negative patterns, weren't we, when we looked over at that moon card. And this is 3 months later, so I think that those things will have gone. You know, a lot of it is to do with forgiveness of other people, I have to tell you, because when you forgive people, it is you who is released, not the other people. If you don't forgive people, you've dropped an anchor back at the time, back at the event. I mean, if you're a ship, you've dropped the anchor back then, and you can't move away from it. But when you forgive, that anchor is pulled up and then you move on. I can't tell you the psychological, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual benefits of actually forgiving someone. Now, it's not easy, no one's saying it is, but it is worthwhile. And it doesn't happen in a second. It can take some time to do that. It can take a few months. O amber heart, O crystal bell that rings once without end, I am the wine you bear, in your ceremony. My will is to serve you alone. Am I fermented properly? Is the vintage ripe? Oh, that I may give pleasure to your mouth, oh my beloved. I think she's also saying that there is a period of rest and contemplation here, and that you'll be moving towards higher ground, but remaining centered at the same time. This is really, I think, talking about one who is actually gifted in getting things underway. You'll have the ability to move people, situations, and projects, and handle multiple projects, ideas, and interests at the same time. You're going to need change and variety in your life. You'll have little regard for anything that's dull and boring. I don't think that you're necessarily going to be a detail person at this time, but you could be if it's necessary to push things along the way. You will be more of a generalist. Your ideas, that mind of yours, is saying there's a whole number of things I want to involve myself in, rather than specializing in something. It's something of an indication of change, of time, of movement, getting projects moving, I think. Say that to yourself: I motivate others positively. I am responsible for what I cause. I accomplish things well and with ease. I am putting my life in order and preparing for the new beginning. And that is a good thing to be doing in June, isn't it? Because then we come to July, and what do we have here? The Two of Cups. Let me just see how this energy is all coming through with the energy of the other cards. Well, the Two of Cups. Well, in a nutshell, I suppose I could refer to this card as being the union of hearts. It is, for me, Venus in the first decan of Cancer, 21st of June to the 1st of July. Now, Venus is the most receptive of the planets, and it is to do with love, relationship, beauty, and creativity. And Cancer, the sign, is about nurturing, comfort, support, and healing. And so what I see during this period is the strengthening of close bonds, togetherness, love, whether you're in a coupled relationship or there may well be new relationship in which there is love and harmony. A relationship that is strengthening, really mutual love and, importantly, respect. Now, I say this is Venus in Cancer. Cancer, more than any other sign, is a receptive sign, and it is the house of the moon. And in Cancer, Jupiter is exalted. Now, these are particularly friendly planets for you in this time of July. I don't want to alarm anybody, but I get the feeling of marriage around this. So you may well hear of marriage, or be attending weddings, or partnering and cohabiting. Certainly the beginning of harmonious relationships, close friendships, the ability to access universal love and meditation for those of you who pursue meditation. But the love that I'm getting here is both special and equal, and you will be able to give and to receive love in equal measure. Yeah. A deep, significant relationship or family tie is what you'll be experiencing. Now, there could be an interest, or a work or a hobby or some form of creativity that you have a passion for also that balances out the emotional nature that you have. See, the number 2 is ruled by Neptune, and it refers to an area of divine emanation, which is about the breaking down of boundaries. And Neptune, of course, has the second strongest gravitational pull after Jupiter. And so close to the ace, see there's two, it's so close to the ace. I think that those things of which I've just spoken about there in July, they will be happening in July, or they're imminent. Venus, beauty and balance in Cancer, deep emotional relationships and family. Really great card, really great card. Now here we go, August. And August we have the Page of Swords. Now, Page of Swords, okay. Now, if you don't mind, maybe for obvious reasons, I'll refer to this Page of Swords as a she. Now, esoterically, pages are earth, and air is swords, and in elemental dignity rules, air and earth are enemies, and they weaken one another. And so what we might expect with a Page of Swords is for there to be some sort of conflict in her nature, to be something of a bit of a firebrand of something. She brings about the materialization of an idea. Now that's what she's going to be doing for you in that month of August. Now who is it? Could it be somebody else in your life? Well, Swords is air. And yep, could be an air sign, but of those I think it's likely to be an Aquarius. Now, it could also, I think, though, be a Pisces, or it could be a Capricorn. I think we have here a earthy part of air. Now, I've said that they weaken each other, so the conflict in her nature is this. The implication of earth in air is that she deals with situations involving the mind in a very tangible way. That is, she is able to manifest her thoughts and make them a reality. And I really see this as being something that you are going to be able to do during this period. Now, in this card here, this page is somebody I can see as someone who can sometimes be stern and revengeful, firm, sometimes aggressive, but certainly very skilled in the way of the world. Now, I'm not suggesting that you would be revengeful at all during this period. But if I'm thinking deeply into her and the energy that I'm getting from her, I see that her character can be quite destructive. She's firm and aggressive with a great practical wisdom and subtlety in material things. She shows great cleverness and dexterity in the management of practical affairs, especially if they're of a controversial nature. So I think that what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to quickly solve disputes that you have with someone else, or people coming to you to get things sorted out for them. Very good at settling arguments, I think that you will be. I call her the lotus of the palace of the air, the princess of the rushing winds. If I was going to say what it is that she's saying to you, is that I'd say that you'll be very clever in practical matters, especially where there are arguments ruling. Now, this woman here, I think, can sometimes I think that her moods cloud her mental clarity, so that it's almost for her, I think, as if there's a need for a mood filter. So then she can just use common sense. So you'd be aware of that and keep that in mind. This woman, I think, can have a destructive way of analysing things and then applying what it is that she's come up with. And be aware of that. But very, very forceful and outgoing in manner. She gets her ideas grounded in a tangible way, I think. And sometimes I think what it is that this woman here, and I'll pull it out so it stops doing that. I think what I see with her is that I think she is someone who follows her own bent rather than serving other people's, and in due course, it turns out that she's done the right thing and she gets her reward. Now, this can be following the heart, following a lifestyle, maybe becoming an entrepreneur, or starting up a small business. But of course, because she's in the Suit of Swords, then any small business won't be plain sailing from the start. But she will, however, have success. I'd say this, that she can be very adaptable in thought and action, and apply herself really practically to different situations. So I think you'll have that real skill during this period. And I'd say this, if you are rebelling against something, I'd look inside myself and ask myself, is my rebellion rooted in love? But have this affirmation: my rebellion is positive, constructive, and creative. She's turned up for a reason, obviously. But maybe what it is that she's saying that is because you have new things to do. And in September, who turns up other than the Fool? Well, the Fool, for me, represents you before you turned up here in space and time. It is that part of you that existed before material incarnation. Uranus is the planet that I have, and I don't actually have a particular sign that I associate to the Fool, but rather the zodiac as a whole. The one who walks without fear, the spirit of ether, is what I call it. This card is both father and mother in the most abstract form of these ideas. This isn't a confusion, but it's a deliberate identification by me of the male and female principle. This is saying to me that you will be being in the present, new beginnings, a leap of faith, acting without malice. Without malice is what's coming through here, I think. I think that what we would also find, very much so for you, is that, I'm just getting these thoughts, you are the breath caressing my cheek in your incessant going, yet you are with me always. Yeah. I think the start of something new or spontaneous for you, the beginning of a new journey into the unknown, which is full of potential for you. The need to take a leap. I said before a leap of faith, but I don't think it's a leap of faith. It's a leap with the inner confidence that you are going to be okay, because you are going to be okay. I would open up your life and have faith that you can create what you want. I think what you will be doing is wanting to break free from the usual routine of life. But look upon life as this Fool does. Be empty again as a child. I think it's about manifesting creativity, moving towards wholeness, re-owning your courage, and it could well be, I think, an attention to the spiritual journey. I think, when I say that this is, for me, I call him the one who walks without fear. You should have the courage to be who you are without fear. Now you have another major arcana coming through in December, November, October. This is interesting, isn't it? Look at this, the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is probably one of the best cards to have. The Wheel of Fortune says to you that there are new things coming into your life. This might be following on from that leap that you were taking with confidence to go and make some things happen or to take a particular direction. Because this is a card which is very much associated for me with the planet of Jupiter, the Lord of the forces of life, I call this card. It's about abundance, what am I talk? Prosperity and good fortune, really. I see, what do I see in here? I see Jupiter, yeah, very much around. I think there is a determination in you to turn your life into a more positive and abundant direction. There could well be unexpected opportunities and windfalls coming your way during this period, I think. Yeah, very much having that effect there. There is a real element of luck and good fortune. The card represents the universe in continual change of state. And what I would be doing is making sure that, look, you could make sure, like these flowers, that you stay centered, because either way that the wheel moves, you won't get crushed underneath it, whichever way it happens to go. I think there is also the feeling here that there can be some unexpected change coming into your life, but an unexpected change which is going to be favorable, but which may not necessarily seem that way at first, is what I'm getting. I'm being told that you may not necessarily see that change as being favorable at first, but it turns out that it is. So be ready to act on any unexpected opportunities. And, of course, when times are good, stay centered, because everything changes around. I don't see anything changing around which is going to be bad for you the rest of this year, incidentally. But always stay centered, everything. Because if you struggle against the course of life, you can struggle against the wheel and get crushed underneath it. But if you're in the center, then despite the ebbs and flows, you are never shaken or broken. So stay centered to your truth, and that always gets you through hardship. I think that that's really one of the greatest cards here. It's you might also consider saying, look, is there anything in my life that I need to get in order, either mentally or physically or education-wise, experience-wise, to get ready for when this great change starts to come, and so I can take advantage of the opportunity. Something that you want to bear in mind there. Now, the Ace of Wands. Well, Wands, of course, is the suit of fire. It's all about the will. And the Ace is, it's the seed of the element. And the element is one which says, at this stage, it's about pure potential. Could it refer to someone in your life even at the time being? Well, it could do. Maybe a Leo, or a Cancer, or a Virgo. I think that we have here the Lord of the root of the power of fire. Fire, high or strong energy, I'm getting transformation, a creative spark and new projects, a new start. Could well be a passionate union with somebody. Vital life forces in you are starting to move you forward, without any doubt. I think that this represents a time in your life when you have a breakthrough moment, and you get the insight, and you feel inspired and motivated to move your life forward. I do get the feeling very much, and isn't it interesting, because it's following directly on this card here, but I do very much get the feeling of a big opportunity opening up for you. You have the possibility, as Ace is a potential, of tapping into your latent potential. It's a perfect time to draw upon your imagination and make your dreams happen. Spiritually, this could be the time to rewrite your life, because I think that there could well be a deep desire for self-discovery here, and of course this can apply to somebody who is 80 years old as much as somebody who is 18 years old. Fantastic energy there, new beginning, great strength, bringing you forward to the end of the year. And then, who do we have it finished off with? Well, we have it with the Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight. Well, the Knight, esoterically, for me, is represented by air, and wands, of course, esoterically, are fire. So we have the airy part of fire. And how do air and fire get on? Well, they get on famously, don't they? They get on absolutely famously. The Prince of the Chariot of Fire is what I call this card. Here is this rather special-looking creature looking out at us. It's a dynamic card with a very strong Leo influence in it. Air and fire, they're complementary and they're active. Again, it could be male or female, but I refer to it as a male because it's described as such in the card, and that is someone who is swift and strong, impulsive, violent, just, noble, generous with a sense of humour, I think. Yeah. With the heart of a lion, he stands for honesty and integrity and what he believes to be for the common good, I think, this person. There's a strong sense of morality to the character, so I think that's something that's going to inhabit you. And I think he, too, can represent a turning point when things have been going badly, and you have to use his energy and enthusiasm and drive to move on to better things. And now is the right time to do it. You need to wear the same confidence that he has. And this character is reminding you to re-engage in life and tackle all challenges that come your way, and in particular to have a lust for life. He's very courageous and very loyal, I think is what I can say of him. I think very much a turning point. Use his energy, tackle challenges, have a lust for life, be generous, and maintain your sense of humour. This is a turning point, and it's the ideal card to be pushing you into the following year. I think this might be one of your best years yet, if not the best year yet. Anyway, that's the way it is for you. Well, there you go. That's it. Your 2020 annual reading done. I tell you what, I think that this is going to be your best year ever. I really do have that feeling about it. I've got to say that the vibe that's come out of that reading of yours is very, very positive, and you should be looking forward to this year. By the way, I just want to say also that you've been fabulous. You've been great, and in fact, you've been brilliant, and you've played your part of this exercise to perfection. And I thank you for that. Look, really all that remains for me to say is this, that you are a legend, and I hope I see you in my monthly readings. Subscribe if you want, but check out the videos anyway. Until then, bye for now.